الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of all that exists. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad, his family and his companions.
أخواني، كان فيه رجل من أكبر تجار المملكة.
There was once a man who was one of the biggest businessmen of Saudi Arabia,
وكان من تجار الرياض،
and he was from the city of Riyadh.
وكان معتادا على توزيع زكاته بنفسه وبيده.
And he was accustomed to distributing zakah, his own zakah, by his own hand.
وكان ينطلق من بعد صلاة الظهر في رمضان يوميا إلى صلاة المغرب يقوم بتوزيع الزكاة على القرى والفقراء.
And so in the month of Ramadan he would leave out every day after Salat al-Dhuhr all the way till Maghrib, going to the different villages distributing zakah.
في يوم من أيام رمضان انطلق بعد صلاة الظهر.
So one day as he set out after Dhuhr,
وكان متوجها نحو الجهة الشرقية والقرى الشرقية.
and he was going towards the villages in the east.
فعندما قام بالتوزيع شعر بالتعب.
And as he was going around distributing his zakah, he felt tired.
فلجأ إلى محطة الوقود.
So he went to a service station and stopped there.
وكان فيها مسجد.
And there was a small masjid in the service station.
فاستلقى قبل صلاة العصر.
And so before Asr he lied down to rest.
استيقظ مع صلاة العصر.
And he woke up at Asr time.
فإذا هو قد رأى رؤية في المنام.
And he had seen a dream in his sleep.
رأى رجلا فقيرا.
He saw a poor man.
من القرى الغربية عكس القرى التي توجه إليها.
And he was in the direction of a village to the west, in the opposite direction of where he was going.
ورآه فقيرا.
And he saw in his dream that this man was poor.
وأنه لا يجد طعاما حتى يفطر عليه في رمضان.
And he doesn't even have enough in order for himself to be able to get some food in this month of Ramadan.
وإنما كان يفطر فقط على الماء.
But all that he has for iftar is water.
وفي المنام عرف اسمه.
And in his dream he heard the man's name.
وعرف قريته كذلك في المنام.
And he saw exactly where that village was in his dream.
استيقظ لصلاة العصر.
So when he woke up for Asr,
قال لابد أن أذهب إلى هذه القرية.
he said to himself, I need to go to that village.
توجه إلى تلك القرية.
So he went to that village.
وصل إليها مع أو قبل أذان المغرب.
And he arrived there just before the time for Maghrib.
ولا يوجد فيها إلا هذا المسجد الوحيد.
And there's only that one masjid in that village.
دخل المسجد ينتظر أذان المغرب.
And so he entered the masjid and he was waiting for the adhan.
أذن للمغرب.
And he heard the adhan.
انتظر الإقامة.
And so he waited for the iqamah.
أتى شاب أو أتى رجل فتقدم الناس وصلى بالناس.
And then the imam came out and he led the prayer.
بعد الصلاة التفت الإمام إلى المصلين.
And after the prayer, as the imam does, he faced the congregation.
فرآه التاجر قال في نفسي هذا الوجه الذي رأيته في المنام.
And when the businessman saw the imam, he said, that's the person I saw in my dream.
فأتى الإمام إلى هذا التاجر.
So the imam came up to the businessman.
قال أنت ضيف علينا.
And he said that you are a stranger in this place.
فأنا أدعوك لأن تفطر عندنا.
And so you must come to my house as my guest and you will have iftar with me.
وكان هذا الرجل التاجر يتوق أن يفطر عند فلان.
And this businessman, he wanted to get closer, he wanted to see the situation of this man, he wanted to spend some time in his house.
ليتأكد من صحة رؤيته.
Because he wants to see whether his dream was true.
ذهب معه إلى البيت.
So he went to his house with him.
فقال له انتظر حتى آتيك.
And so he said to him, wait here, let me bring something for us.
فأتى إليه بكأس من الماء.
So he came out with a glass of water.
يقول عندما دخلت بيته.
The businessman, he said, when I entered into that house,
ما رأيت شيء يرد العين.
he said that I didn't see anything special in that house.
ورأيت أبناه عراه إلا ما يغطي عورتهم.
And I saw his children and they were pretty much naked except that their awra was covered.
فعندما أتاني بالماء.
So when he bought this water for me,
قال والله لو وجدت شيئا في بيتي غير هذا لقدمته إليك.
he said to me, by Allah, if I had more than water to give to you, I would have given it to you.
وأنا كنت مضطرا أن أدعوك إلى الإفطار.
But I wanted to invite you to my house for iftar.
لأنك رجل غريب.
Because you're a stranger in this town.
ولا بد أن نضيف الغريب.
And I must be hospitable to strangers.
قال قلت له انتظرني قليلا.
So the businessman said to the imam, wait for a short while.
قال فذهبت إلى سيارتي
So he went out to his car
وأتيت بحقيبة
and he bought his briefcase,
مملوءة بآلاف الريالات
and his briefcase is full of thousands of riyals.
وفيها مجموعات من هذه 500 المئات الريالات ومجموعة.
And they're in stacks, he has stacks of notes.
فتحت له الحقيبة
So he said, I opened my briefcase
قلت له خذ ما شئت
and
منها
I said to him, take whatever you need.
فقال لا أريد شيئا.
And he replied, I don't need anything.
قلت تأخذ منها.
I said to him, no, you must take from it.
قال ما أخذ
He
شيئا.
said, I don't want anything.
قلت والله لا تأخذن منها.
So I said to him, by Allah, you will take something.
قال تريد أن تفتنني.
He said, are you trying to test me?
الحمد لله أنا في خير.
I am, by Allah's permission, in good.
الله عز وجل قد أكرمنا.
Allah has honored me and given to me.
قلت والله لا تأخذن
So I
منها.
said to him, by Allah, you must take something.
قال فأخذ منها.
So he took from it.
أتعلمون كم أخذ منها أخواني؟
Do you know how much he took from that briefcase?
أخذ منها ما يعادل تقريبا 200 باوند.
He said all he took was something like 200 pounds.
قال هذا يكفيني لسنة كاملة.
He said, that's enough for the whole year for me.
قلت هذا؟
So I said to him, is that all you need?
قال نعم والله لا أخذ غيرها.
He said, by Allah, I won't take anything extra.
هذا الفقير عرف الله عز وجل.
This poor man, this poor imam, he knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
فعرفه الله تبارك.
And so Allah azza wa jal, because he recognized Allah, Allah recognized him.
هذا الرجل لم يمد يده إلى الناس، لم يفتقر إلى الناس.
This imam didn't outstretch his hands begging from people,
افتقر إلى الله.
but rather he turned to Allah.
الله عز وجل هو الذي أرسل إليه هذا التاجر.
And it is Allah who sent the businessman to him
ليخدم هذا الفقير.
so that he could serve the poor man.
انتبه إنك تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
الله عز وجل لا ينساك.
And Allah will never forget you.
ولا ينسى دمعتك في الليل.
And Allah doesn't forget the tears that you shed during the night.
وأنا في امرأة عجوز.
There was an elderly woman.
وعندها في طبيب مشهور واستشاري مشهور.
There was a famous doctor.
وكان متخصصا في أمراض الأطفال.
And he was a specialist in pediatrics.
وكان في الشام هذا.
And this was in Asham.
ومن شهرته كانت المستشفيات تطلبه من مدينة إلى أخرى.
And because of how well known, how famous he'd become in his field, different hospitals across the country would ask him to come to them to work there.
وكان يسافر حتى يقيم العمليات على الأطفال مقابل أموال جزيلة.
And so they would pay him a great deal of money for him to travel to those places so that he could carry out some surgery and some operations and so on.
وفي يوم من الأيام كانت له عملية يريد أن يجريها في مدينة أخرى.
And so on one occasion he had to travel to a different city for that job, for that work purpose.
فاستقل طائرة.
And so he flew there by plane.
في الطريق تعطلت الطائرة.
But on the way there was a problem with the plane.
فنزلت الطائرة في منتصف الطريق.
And so they had to do an emergency landing in a close by airport.
فسأل هذا الدكتور وهذا الطبيب سأل المختصين في هذه الخطوط.
And so the doctor went to the airline staff and he asked them,
كم تحتاجون من الوقت لإصلاح هذه الطائرة؟
how much time is it going to take to fix this plane?
قالوا ربما نحتاج إلى 16 ساعة.
They said it's going to take us about 16 hours.
قالوا كيف؟
So he said to him, how is that possible?
أنا عندي عملية اليوم لابد أن نقوم بإجرائها.
I have appointments today that I need to go and I need to deal with.
قال الأمر ليس بيدنا.
They said, we don't have a choice.
ولكنك تستطيع أن تستقل سيارة وتستأجر سيارة.
But what you can do is hire a car.
المدينة قريبة الآن ربما تحتاج إلى ساعتين للوصول إليها.
Because it only will take you 2 hours to get to our destination by car.
فاستأجر سيارة.
So he hired a car.
وانطلق في هذه السيارة.
And he started to drive.
نزل المطر.
And then a storm came.
واشتد نزول المطر.
And it was a severe storm.
بحيث لم يستطع أن يستمر في قيادة
To
السيارة.
the extent that it was impossible to drive in those conditions.
فلجأ إلى قرية.
So he saw a village nearby.
فوجد بيتا في بداية هذه
And
القرية.
he went into that village and saw a house at the beginning of that village.
أوقف سيارته وضرب الباب حتى يدخل بسبب شدة المطر.
And because of the storm, he wanted to get into some shelter, so he found the house and he knocked on the door.
فسمع امرأة عجوز من وراء من داخل هذا البيت تقول له تفضل تفضل.
And he heard an elderly woman calling out to him from inside the house saying, come in, come in.
قال فدخلت.
So she entered.
فقالت له تفضل واجلس في هذا المجلس وهو مجلس الضيوف.
And so the elderly lady, she said to him, you may enter and sit in the guest room, in the front room, in the guest room.
وتناول الفاكهة التي أمامك.
And there was some fruit there, and she said to him, eat from that fruit.
قال فجلست قليلا.
So he said that I sat for a short while,
فسمعت صوت بكاء صبي.
and after a while I could hear a young child crying.
فرأيت فقامت المرأة العجوز تقوم إليه وتسكته.
And so the old woman, she got up and she went to that child and she calmed it down.
ثم ترجع إلى مكانها.
And then she would go and sit back down.
وبعد فترة سمعته يصيح.
But after a short while, that child starts crying again.
وهكذا تقوم إليه تسكنه ثم ترجع إلى مكانها.
And this is what she was doing, getting up, calming down the child, going and sitting down, but the child would cry again, back and forth.
فقلت لها يا خالة ما لي هذا الصبي.
So I said to her, "Oh auntie, what's wrong with the child?"
فقالت هو مريض.
She said in reply, "He's sick."
لما لا تعالجيه؟
So I asked her, "Why don't you cure him?"
ذهبت به إلى طبيب القرية.
So she said that I took him to our doctor in this village.
فقال لي هذا النوع من المرض لا يعرفه من الأطباء إلا دكتور يقال له دكتور هشام.
And he said to me, the doctor of the village, he said, the problem with this child, his condition, there's only a few people that can deal with it, such as that famous doctor. There's a famous doctor known as Dr. Hisham.
وهو موجود في دمشق.
But he's all the way in Damascus.
ولكنه تقول سألت عنه فإذا هو يأخذ أموال طائلة.
And not only that, but he's expensive, costs a lot of money to go to him.
ما أستطيع أن أذهب إليه وليست لي هذه الأموال.
So the old woman said, I can't travel all the way that distance, nor do I have the money to pay him.
قال دعيني أنظر إلى هذا.
So the doctor said to her, let me go and see the child.
فرآه فعرف مرضه.
So he checked out the child and he realized what was wrong with the child.
وكانت معه العدة.
And he had with him his equipment and his medicines.
وأعطاها العلاج هذا الطفل.
And so he gave her the medicine that was needed.
قالت من أنت؟
So she asked him, who are you?
قال أنا الدكتور هشام.
He said, I am that Dr. Hisham.
الله عز وجل لم ينسى بكائها في الليل.
Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wasn't ignorant of her crying during the night.
ولم ينسى دعاءها في آخر الليل.
And he didn't forget the dua that she was making during the last part of the night.
الله عز وجل هو الذي أرسل إليها هذا الدكتور هشام إلى مكانه.
But rather Allah caused that doctor to travel all the way to her.
وهو الذي يحتاج إليها حتى يأوي إلى بيته.
And he was in need of her, he needed shelter, so he was in need of her services at that time.
وعالجه بلا مقابل.
And then he ended up dealing with that child and curing it for free.
انتبه انك تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful because you are dealing with Allah.
مع مدبر الكون سبحانه.
And He is the one who controls the universe.
أنت غالي على الله.
You are precious to Allah.
دمعتك غالية على الله.
And your tears are precious to Allah.
دعاؤك غالي على الله.
And your dua is precious to Allah.
ألمك غالي على الله.
And the pain that you feel is precious to Allah.
لا تسقط دمعتك هباء.
Don't think that your tears that are shed are wasted.
ولا دعاؤك يذهب هباء.
Or that your dua that you make is unheard.
أنت تتعامل مع ملك الملوك.
Because you are dealing with the King of all kings.
مع مدبر السماوات والأرض.
And with the one who is the control of the universe.
إخواني يخبرني الدكتور عباس.
The Shaykh said that there was a doctor that he knew by the name of Dr. Abbas.
وهو عميد كلية الهندسة عندنا في الكويت.
And he was the head of the faculty of engineering in Kuwait.
وقد توفي رحمه الله منذ فترة.
And he passed away rahimahullah ta'ala.
يقول لي حصلت لي قصة غريبة.
So he was telling the Shaykh one day that something strange happened to him.
قلت ما هذه القصة؟ ما الذي حصل؟
So the Shaykh asked him, what happened?
قال في يوم من الأيام كان عندي اجتماع مع رؤساء الأقسام في كلية الهندسة.
He said one day I had a meeting at the university with the department heads.
فخرجت من البيت متوجه إلى كلية الهندسة.
So I left the house and I was going towards the university.
أخواني نفترض هذا بيته في هذه المنطقة.
So imagine that that's his house.
كلية الهندسة في الجانب الأيمن هنا في المنطقة.
And this is where the university is in this area.
ومجمع الوزارات عندنا في الجهة اليسرى الجهة الأخرى.
And there was a place where all of the companies are based. That's on the other side of the city.
أنا خرجت من البيت متوجه إلى كلية الهندسة.
So he said that I left my house with the plan to go to the university.
ثم عندما وصلت أوقفت سيارتي.
And when I arrived and I stopped my car,
فتفاجأت إذا أنا أمام جمع الوزارات ولست أمام كلية الهندسة.
I was surprised that I had ended up going to the place where all the businesses are instead of going to the place where the university is.
لأن ذهني كان يفكر بالاجتماع ماذا يحصل ماذا أقول وما هي الأمور التي أطرحها.
And he went there because his mind was preoccupied with the meeting and what was going to say and the different things that needed to be done.
ولكن العقل الباطن ساقه إلى هذا المكان.
And so his subconscious led him to the other place.
لأن هذا المكان كان يعمل فيه هو المدير العام لمؤسسة منذ سنوات كان يعمل فيها مدة سنوات.
Because before he became the head of that university department, he used to work in that place before as the CEO, the general manager.
فكان معتاد يذهب إلى هذا المكان.
And so he was accustomed to traveling that way and going to work before.
ولذلك تفاجأ بأنه الآن أمام هذا المكان.
And so his subconscious that day just happened to take him in that direction. He was used to his program to go that way anyway.
وبسبب الازدحام في الصباح في الذهاب إلى العمل.
And because it was rush hour morning traffic,
يصعب عليه الآن الذهاب إلى كلية الهندسة لإدراك موعد الاجتماع.
he found that it would take too long to go all the way back now to the university and make that meeting.
وإذا لابد أن ينتظر قليلا حتى يخف الازدحام.
Because it would take time for that traffic to die down.
فقال إذن دعوني أنزل إلى هذه المؤسسة وأدخل مؤسسة وأسلم على أصحابي الذين كنت أعرفهم بالسابق.
So he said, now that I'm here, let me go and look at my old place of work and meet my friends that I used to work with before.
دخل المؤسسة.
So he entered into that company.
ودخل على المدير العام الذي كان هو في السابق يشغل هذا المكان.
And he looked at he met the new general manager, the one who took his position after he left.
استقبله مدير المؤسسة المدير العام.
And the general manager came and welcomed him.
مرحبا بالدكتور عباس.
And he said, welcome Dr. Abbas.
دكتور عباس ما حاجة أن تأتي حلت المشكلة.
And he said, you didn't need to come all of this way because we dealt with the issue already.
قال أي مشكلة؟
He asked him, what issue?
قال أنت ربما يعني تريد أن تتغافل عن هذا.
He said, don't joke, you don't need to joke or pretend, we've dealt with it.
أنا أعرف أنك أتيت من أجل حل هذه المشكلة.
I know you came to deal with this issue.
قال أي مشكلة؟
He asked again, what issue?
فاتصل بإحدى الموظفات قال تفضلي عندنا الدكتور عباس موجود.
And there was a lady who worked there, so he called her and he said, come because Dr. Abbas has arrived.
دخلت الموظفة.
So that lady, she entered, the employee.
قال دكتور عباس جزاك الله خيرا.
And she said, Dr. Abbas, may Allah reward you.
الحمد لله انحلت المشكلة ما حاجة أن تأتي.
But it's okay, we dealt with the issue, you didn't need to come all this way.
قال أي مشكلة؟
He asked again, what issue?
قالت أنت تغافل.
She said, you don't need to pretend.
وأنت فاجأت.
So he said, I was shocked at this point.
قال فاتصلت بأمها.
So then what she did is she picked up the phone and called her mother.
وكانت امرأة عجوزة.
And her mother was an elderly woman.
وكنت أعرفها امرأة صالحة.
And this Dr. Abbas said, I used to know her from before. She's a righteous woman. I knew her from before.
قوامة صوامة.
She's someone who prays the nights and fasts the days.
دائما كانت تتصدق وتعمل
And she's
الصالحة.
a woman of charity.
فاتصلت بأمها.
So that lady, she called her mother, this elderly woman.
يا أمه الدكتور عباس موجود عندنا.
And she said to her mum, this Dr. Abbas has arrived.
فقالت لي تفضل تريد أن تكلمك والدتي.
And then she gave the phone to Dr. Abbas and said she wants to talk to you.
قال خطبت أمها.
So I spoke to her on the phone, he said.
قال جزاك الله خير دكتور عباس ما حاجة الحمد لله المشكلة انحلت.
And she said the same thing, may Allah reward you, it's sorted, you didn't come all this way.
قلت يا خالة ما الذي حصل؟
So I asked her, what issue?
قالت في آخر يوم من الأسبوع الفائت أتت ابنتي من العمل في نهاية العمل وهي تبكي.
She said last week before the weekend on the last day of work my daughter came home after work and she was extremely upset.
قلت لها ما لك؟
So I asked her what's wrong.
قالت ظلموني في العمل.
She said that I've been oppressed at work.
حصل خطأ في العمل فنسبوه إلي.
There was a problem at work, an issue, an error, and they blamed me for it.
وخصموا علي مبلغ كبير.
And they deducted a big amount from my wages.
وقلت لهم أنا بريئة لا علاقة لي بهذا.
So I told them that I was innocent, had nothing to do with me.
قال لا تبين بأنك أنت مخطئة.
But they said, no, it's your fault.
يا أمها افعلي شيئا.
So she said to me, oh my mother, help me.
قلت ماذا أفعل؟
So I replied, what can I do for you?
أنا امرأة عجوز.
I'm an old woman.
ولا أعرف أحد.
And I don't know anyone.
أعرف فقط بأن منذ سنوات كان الدكتور عباس هو المدير العام.
All I know is that many years ago, this Dr. Abbas, he used to be the head of that company.
وأنا أعرفه.
And I know him from that time.
ولكن ما أستطيع أن أكلمه الآن.
But I can't speak to him now.
ما عندي هاتفه.
I don't even have a phone.
والآن هو خرج من هذه المؤسسة.
I don't have his phone and he doesn't work there anymore.
لكن أدعو الله عز وجل لعل الله عز وجل ييسر الأمور.
But I will make dua, maybe Allah Azza wa Jal will open up a way for you.
تقول هذه المرأة فأخذت ليلتين وأنا أدعو الله عز وجل آخر الليل.
So the elderly woman said that I spent the last 2 nights making dua to Allah during the night.
ليرسلك لحل المشكلة.
That Allah should send you to go and deal with this issue.
فعندما ذهبت ابنتي في أول أيام الأسبوع.
So when my daughter returned to work on the first day of work after the weekend,
لما ذهبت أعادوا النظر في الموضوع.
by that time the people of the company, they re-looked at that issue again.
فتبين بأنها بريئة.
And they realized that actually she was innocent.
فالحمد لله مسحوا هذا الخصم الذي كان.
And so they reinstated the wages that they had previously deducted.
واعتذروا منها.
And they apologized to her.
فاتصلت بي وأخبرتني.
And so she just called me and told me that's what happened.
قالت هذه القصة وما فيها.
This is the issue that we're speaking about.
انظروا إخواني سبحان الله.
The Shaykh said, look at this.
بهذا الدعاء انحلت مشكلة هذه البنت.
Because of the dua of the elderly woman, Allah helped her daughter.
استجاب الله عز وجل لدعوة المرأة العجوز.
Allah Azza wa Jal responded to the dua of the elderly lady.
لم يسقط دعوتها.
He didn't just ignore her dua.
حل سبحانه حق بنفسه تبارك وتعالى جعل هذه المشكلة تحل بأمر من الله.
But rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with that issue and solved that problem for them.
ولم يكن للدكتور عباس أي دور في هذا.
And this Dr. Abbas had nothing to do with the issue.
وأرسل الدكتور عباس ضيفا كما يضيف شرف لهذه المشكلة.
But rather he was like an honorable guest that just happened to come once it was solved.
لئلا يتعلق الناس بالمخلوقات في حل مشاكلهم.
So that the people aren't attached to other people when it comes to dealing with their issues.
فالله عز وجل لا ينسى.
Because Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forget His slaves.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be aware, be careful for your dealing with Allah.
إذا كنت مع الله كان الله معك.
And if you are with Allah, Allah will be with you.
يرفعك الله عز وجل.
And Allah Azza wa Jal will raise you.
ويعلي مقامك.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor your station.
نبي الله يوسف عليه السلام.
The Prophet of Allah, Yusuf alayhi salam,
كان مع الله في السجن.
he was with Allah Azza wa Jal in prison.
فكان الله معه.
So Allah Azza wa Jal was with him.
عندما راودته امرأة العزيز كان مع الله.
When the wife of his master tried to seduce him, he was with Allah, remembered Allah.
قال معاذ الله.
And he said, I seek refuge in Allah.
عندما دخل في السجن.
And when he entered into prison,
أول كلمة قال لهم.
the first thing he said to the other prisoners,
دعاهم إلى التوحيد.
he called them to the tawheed of Allah.
إني تركت ملة قوم لا يؤمنون بالله.
He said that I have left the religion of those who don't believe in Allah.
وهم بالآخرة هم كافرون.
And they disbelieve in the hereafter.
واتبعت ملة آبائي.
And I have followed the religion of my forefathers.
إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق. إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب.
Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub.
ما كان لنا أن نشرك بالله من
It
شيء.
is not befitting that we should associate anyone in worship with Allah.
دعوا إلى التوحيد.
He called those people to tawheed.
لما راودته النسوة.
When the women of that town also tried to seduce him,
قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني
he
إليه.
said, oh Allah, prison is more beloved to me than their call.
كان مع الله فكان الله معه.
He remembered Allah at that time, so Allah remembered him.
ماذا حصل؟
What happened at the end?
أصبح عزيز مصر.
He becomes the prime minister.
دخل عليه الإخوة فسجدوا له.
And his own brothers will come back to him and they will prostrate before him.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى القليل منك.
Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't forget the small amount that you do.
لا ينسى سجودك له.
He doesn't forget your prostration.
لا ينسى
He
صلاتك.
doesn't forget your salah.
لا ينسى صدقتك.
He doesn't forget your charity.
لا ينسى بكائك.
He doesn't forget your crying.
لا ينسى قيامك.
He doesn't forget your standing the night in prayer.
لا يضيع عملك القليل.
Even the smallest of actions are not wasted with Allah.
عبد الملك بن مروان إخواني خليفة الأموي.
The Umayyad Khalifa Abdul Malik ibn Marwan.
كان في يوم من الأيام كان يسير مع حاشيته.
He was walking one day with his entourage
فأطل في بئر.
and he looked down at a well
وكان في يده دينار.
and he had in his hand a gold coin
فسقط منه في البئر.
and it happened to fall into that well.
فنزل بنفسه.
So he went down into the well by himself.
أراد من الحاشية أن ينزلوا عنه قال لا.
But the people around him said, let us go down for you instead.
فنزل وأخذ هذا الدينار وارتفع.
But he insisted on going down and retrieving that gold coin and coming out again.
قال يا أمير المؤمنين.
So they said to him, O leader of the faithful,
من أجل قطعة نقود تنزل أنت بنفسك إلى البئر وفيه الوساخات.
this is a dirty well and there's only one gold coin. You didn't have to go down for a gold coin.
حتى أردت هذه لو أمرتنا نحن بالنزول.
And even if you did want it, one of us would have gone down for you.
قال لا.
He said no.
لا من أجل أنه دينار.
He said, I didn't go down because of the gold coin,
لأن عليه اسم الله.
but rather because on the coin is the name of Allah.
فأحببت أن أخدم هذه القطعة التي عليها اسم الله.
And so I wanted to go and retrieve it because it had the name of Allah upon it.
عظم الله عز وجل.
So he honored and glorified Allah in that moment.
فرفع الله عز وجل مكانته في الدنيا.
And so Allah Azza wa Jal honored him in this life.
إلى أن ملك ما بين الصين والهند وروسيا إلى المغرب.
Until his kingdom expanded all the way from China to Morocco.
الله عز وجل لا ينسى القليل منك.
Because Allah doesn't forget the small amount that you do.
لا ينسى قراءتك القرآن.
He doesn't forget the Quran that you
لا
recite,
ينسى إطعامك للمسكين.
nor the food that you give to the poor,
لا ينسى خدمتك للضعيف.
nor the help that you give to the weak.
لا ينسى صيامك.
He doesn't forget your fasting
لا ينسى صلاتك.
or your salah.
من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى
Allah says whoever does good deeds, whether male or female,
وهو مؤمن
and they're believers,
فلنحيينه حياة
we
طيبة
will give to them a goodly life,
ونجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون.
and we will reward them with the best of that which they would do.
أخوان المخلوقات والناس تقدم لهم الكثير
Because when it comes to dealing with other people, you may do a lot for them.
وربما في آخر موقف لم تقدم لهم وأبيت أن تخدمهم.
And then on one occasion, after many years of service, you say, I can't do something.
ينسى كل الأعمال التي قدمتها له.
That person will forget all of the good that you did throughout your history.
ولا يذكر إلا هذا الشيء الذي لم تستجب له.
And the only thing they will remember is that one refusal.
أما الله تبارك وتعالى
As for Allah Azza wa Jal,
لا يضل ربي ولا ينسى.
He never forgets.
هذا في جهة أخواني.
This is on one side.
في جهة الأخرى
On the opposite side,
إذا عرضت عن الله عرض الله عز وجل عنك.
turn away from Allah, Allah will turn away from you.
بل قد يحوجك الله عز وجل إلى خصمك.
Or rather, Allah Azza wa Jal will make you need your enemies.
ربما إذا تعلقت بغيره
Because if you attach yourself to other than Allah,
يجعل عذابك على يده.
He will make your punishment at the hands of that person that you become attached to.
بل قد يفقرك الله عز وجل إلى من سعيت أنت بخدمته.
Or rather, Allah Azza wa Jal will make you in need of those people that you are trying to serve.
لأنك تعلقت به وتركت الله.
Because you are attached to them instead of Allah.
أخواني طبيب مشهور كان في مدينة من مدن الشام.
There was a famous doctor who used to live in one of the cities of Sham.
وهذا كان في الخمسينات.
And this is back in the 1950s.
وكان هذا الطبيب متخصص في طب النساء.
And this person was a specialist in dealing with issues of medicine for women.
ولا يخرج لمداواة امرأة إلا بليرة ذهب.
And in those days, the only reason he would go to treat someone in their home is if they paid him a gold coin.
ولو كانت فقيرة.
Even if they were poor.
ولو رآها تموت أمامه.
Even if that person was dying in front of his eyes.
ما يخرج إلا بليرة ذهب.
They had to pay him in gold before he would go out.
فكانت العوائل ربما تبيع ما في بيتها من أثاث حتى تحصل على الذهب.
So some people would have to sell their possessions and everything they owned in order to buy that gold coin.
يداوي زوجته هذا الفقير يداوي زوجته أو يداوي ابنته.
So that he could treat maybe his wife or his daughter.
من أجل ما يجمع الطبيب هذه الليرات.
Because of, until this doctor amassed all of this gold.
من أجل زوجته.
And he was amassing it because of his own wife.
من أجل محافظته عليها.
And because he could help her and serve her.
وحتى تعيش في رفاه.
And so that she could live very comfortably.
جمع مالا كبيرا.
So he had a great deal of wealth that he gathered.
وبنى قصرا.
And he built himself a mansion.
مرت الأيام.
And then many years passed by.
أصيب بالشلل.
And eventually he becomes paralyzed.
تأذت منه زوجته.
And so his wife ignores him.
ألقته في سرداب البيت.
She placed him in the basement.
يتجنب قتل العون له.
If you were to think about this logically, if Allah wanted to save Musa alayhi salam, when do you think he would have been born? The year in which there was killing or no killing?
في السنة لا تفهمون.
In the year that there should be no killing.
لكن الله عز وجل قدر سبحانه أن يولد موسى في السنة التي يقتل فيها.
But rather Allah decreed that he should be born in that year that there was to be killing.
إن استطعت أن تمد يدك إليه قطعنا.
It's as if Allah is saying to Pharaoh, if you try to harm him, you will destroy him.
ولد الله موسى.
And so he was born.
واضطربت أمه.
And his mother became afraid for him.
بدأ الجنود يجوبون في بيوت بني إسرائيل.
Because the soldiers are coming around searching the houses of the people of Bani Israel.
يبحثون عن كل مولود جديد لقتله.
And they're looking for every newborn so that they may kill him.
جعلت صندوقا على النيل وكان بيتها على النيل.
And his mother, her house was by the river Nile, so she placed a basket in the river.
وجعلت فيه حبلا.
And she had a rope attached to that basket.
فإذا سمعت بصوت الجنود
That if she heard the soldiers approaching,
جعلت ابنها في هذا الصندوق على البحر.
she would take her son and place him in the basket in the river.
وربطت الحبل.
And she would tie the basket to a post
لحمايته.
so that he would be safe.
فبدأت الجنود البحث ما يجدون أحد.
And so that when the soldiers came in the house, they wouldn't find a child.
سمعت بصوت الجنود.
So when it actually happened, when she heard the soldiers approaching,
ألقت بابنها في الصندوق في البحر.
she took her son, placed him in the basket in the Nile.
دخل الجنود البحث ما وجدوا أحد.
And they came in the soldiers and they didn't find any newborn.
خرج.
So they left.
ذهبت إلى ابنها لأخذه.
So she went back to retrieve her son.
فإذا هي نسيت أن تربط هذا الصندوق.
And she realized that she had forgotten to tie the rope.
ورأت النيل يأخذه إلى قصر فرعون.
And she saw that the current of the river had taken it down river.
أراد الله عز وجل أن يبين
Because Allah Azza wa Jalla wanted to make it known.
ربما الجنود يتجاوزون عن هذا المولود.
Because maybe some of those soldiers would have been merciful to the child and left it alone.
فأراد الله عز وجل
That the Prophet of Allah Musa should come into the grasp of Pharaoh.
فإن استطعت قتله قطعناه.
As if Allah is saying, if you can harm this child, even when he's in your grasp, we'll destroy you.
وصل إلى بيت فرعون.
And so he comes to the palace of Pharaoh.
أصبح بينه وبين زوجته.
And so now he is living amongst Pharaoh and his wife.
اضطرب قلب أم موسى.
And the heart of the mother of Musa is trembling out of fear.
الآن شك فرعون.
And now Pharaoh doesn't know who this child is.
هل هو أصله إسرائيلي أم فرعوني؟
Is he originally from the people of Pharaoh or is he from Bani Israel?
أراد الله عز وجل أن يثبت لفرعون.
But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to make it clear to Pharaoh
أن هذا المولود هو في إسرائيل.
that this child is a child that is from an Israelite child.
فإن استطعت قتله قطعته.
As if Allah is saying, if you can harm this child, then we will destroy you.
كيف حصل هذا؟
How did this happen?
لم يقبل نبي الله موسى صدر أي امرأة.
That the Prophet of Allah Musa didn't accept suckling from any woman.
حرمنا عليه المراضع.
As Allah says, we made it haram for him to suckle from any other woman.
لم يقبل إلا صدر أمه.
The only suckling he accepted was from his own mother.
ورأوا بأن هذه المرأة إسرائيلية.
And they knew that the mother of Musa, this woman, she is from the Israelites.
عرف بأنه إسرائيلي.
And so therefore the child must be hers, an Israelite as well.
ومع ذلك قال ربما ليس بإسرائيل.
But they still said, okay, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
وألقى الله عز وجل محبته في قلب زوجته وفي قلبه.
And Pharaoh and his wife began to love Musa alayhi salam.
انظروا إخواني هل استطاع فرعون قتله؟
See, look at all of this. Was Pharaoh able to harm the child?
تربى في بيت فرعون.
He grows up in the house of Pharaoh.
هذا التحدي تربى في بيت فرعون أمام فرعون.
He is growing up in the house of Pharaoh under the eyes of Pharaoh.
وما استطاع قتله.
And even so he couldn't harm him.
في يوم من الأيام
One day,
كان يحبو نبي الله موسى بين فرعون وبين امرأته.
Musa alayhi salam as a child was crawling between Pharaoh and his wife.
فعندما اقترب من فرعون شد لحيته بقوة.
And as he came close to Pharaoh, he grabbed his beard and he yanked it.
وأنتم تعرفون الأطفال أو تعرفون الصغار دائما تكون يدهم قوية فيها.
And as you know, young children, when they grab something, they hold on, it's powerful.
فزع فرعون.
And so Pharaoh was shocked.
ما تجرأ أحد على مس لحية وجهه إلا هذا.
Because no one had ever had the audacity to do this to Pharaoh before.
إذن هذا الذي سيكون قتلي على يده.
And that was a sign for him that this is the child that would destroy my kingdom.
قالت له امرأته لا هو ما يفهم ولا يفقه.
But his wife said to him, it's just a child, he doesn't understand anything.
قدم له تمرة وقدم له لؤلؤة وقدم له جمرة.
But she said, rather go and give to him a gem and give to him a coal, a red hot coal.
وقدم له لؤلؤة وكذلك. نعم. قدم له لؤلؤة وقدم له جمرة. فإن اختار اللؤلؤة فربما هو يفقه الآن.
And if he can choose the gem, it shows that he understands what's going on.
وهو في الأيام الأولى من الولادة.
Because he's like a young baby, a toddler.
فقدم له هذين الاثنين.
And so he put those two things in front of Musa alayhi salam.
فأخذ الجمرة جعلها على فمه.
And so Musa alayhi salam grabbed the coal and placed it in his mouth.
هذا الذي جعل لسانه يصبح ثقيلا.
And that is why he used to have a speech impediment.
واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي.
And that is why he says in the dua of Allah, untie the knot of my tongue.
فقالت له انظر ما يستطيع أن يميز بين اللؤلؤ وبين الجمرة.
And so the wife of Pharaoh said, look, the child can't discern between what's precious and not precious.
لكن هذه إشارة إلهية.
But this was another sign for Pharaoh.
اختار الجمرة اختار الحرارة.
He chose the red hot coal.
للإشارة بأنه يختار الشدة في حق فرعون.
That this is a sign for Pharaoh that he was going to be harsh with him and destroy him.
وكانت النتيجة أن قتل فرعون على يده.
And as we know, the result of this story, the end of the story is that he destroyed Pharaoh and his kingdom.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
قد يتربى على يدك أو على يده من يكون هلاكه على يدك.
Because someone may be nurturing the very person that will destroy them.
الله عز وجل قد يبدل الأدوار بينكم.
Because Allah Azza wa Jalla may change and turn the tables upon you.
إله.
Because He is the God.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله.
Be careful, you are dealing with Allah.
لا تظلم أحدا.
Don't oppress anyone.
نبي الله يوسف عليه السلام.
The Prophet of Allah, Yusuf alayhi salam.
استرق وأصبح مملوكا.
We know that he was in prison. We know that he was sold as a slave.
تبين لعزيزي مصر.
And it became clear to his master
بأنه بريء من التعرض لزوجته.
that he was innocent of trying to seduce his wife.
ومع ذلك ظلمه وسجنه.
But despite this, he still imprisoned him.
مرت الأيام.
Many days passed by,
تبدلت الأدوار.
and Allah turned the tables.
هذا المملوك المظلوم
This very same prisoner who's a slave,
المسجون
the one who's in prison,
أصبح عزيز مصر.
he now becomes the prime minister himself,
وعزيز مصر أزيح عنه.
and the previous prime minister is removed.
أخذ يحكم على عزيز مصر.
He is the one who is now in charge.
تبدلت الأدوار.
Didn't Allah turn his tables?
من كان يخطر في ذهن بأن هذا العبد المملوك المسجون سيصبح عزيز مصر؟
Who would ever think that a slave that is in prison one day becomes a prime minister?
الله سبحانه هو الذي يبدل الأدوار.
But rather it is Allah Azza wa Jal who decides.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
الله عز وجل قد يحوجك إلى خصمك
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may make you in need of your opponent
إذا ما ظلمته.
if you are oppressive.
وإذا ظلمك قد يحوجه إليك.
And if he's the one that oppresses you, then one day he will come to you in need.
كل يعلم ماذا فعل إخوة يوسف بيوسف عليه
We
السلام.
all know what the brothers of Yusuf did to him.
أما سعوا في التخلص منه.
Were they trying to get rid of him?
أما ألقوه في الجب.
Didn't they throw him into the well?
ما مرت الأيام.
But after days passed and years passed,
إلا ودخلوا عليه وهم يقولون له.
and they are the ones who will come back to Yusuf alayhi salam asking him,
يا أيها العزيز.
saying, "Oh leader,
مسنا وأهلنا الضر.
we and our families have been struck with hardship,
وجئنا ببضاعة مزجاة.
and we have come to you with the little that we have,"
التي لا يريدها أحد.
meaning this is the small that we have, it's insignificant, no one would want this,
فأوفي لنا الكيل.
so give to us our full measure
تصدق تفضل علينا تصدق علينا.
and be charitable towards us.
الله الآن هو يتفضل عليكم.
Now this is the same person that they want to be charitable towards them,
وأنتم ألقيتم في الجب.
the same person that you were trying to kill,
فسجدوا له بعد ذلك.
and as we know they will end up prostrating before him.
أحوجهم الله عز وجل إليه.
Allah made them in need of the person that they were trying to get rid of.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله.
So be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
لا تظلم أحد.
Don't oppress anyone.
كن مع الله يكن الله عز وجل.
Rather be with Allah and He will be with you.
لا تتكبر.
Don't be arrogant.
فقد يضعك الله عز وجل في موضع الشرف في موضع بدل من الشرف يضعك في موضع
For Allah Azza wa Jal may humiliate you in a place where others are honored.
يقول واحد من الرواة
One of the scholars reported
من أتباع التابعين
from the scholars with the Tabi'een,
كنت في مكة في وقت الحج
he said that I was making Hajj in Mecca
فرأيت رجلا من أكبر تجار بغداد
and I saw one of the biggest traders, one of the most richest men of Baghdad,
يسعى بين الصفا والمروة
making sa'i between Safa and Marwa,
على دابته
and he was riding his animal
وحوله الحاشية
and he had his entourage around him,
يدفعون الناس دفعا عنه
and they're pushing people away from him out of his path
لكي يسعى
so that he can make his sa'i.
فقلت له ماذا يفعل هذا
So I thought to myself, what is he doing here?
في بيت الله
This is the house of Allah
في الحرم
and this is the haram,
يترفع هكذا ويتكبر على
and
الناس
this is the arrogance he's showing to other people here.
قال مرت السنون
He said many years passed by.
كنت على جسر بغداد
He said that I was once traveling upon the bridge leading into Baghdad,
وهذا الجسر من أشهر الجسور في بغداد من أشهر الأماكن التي يمر عليها الناس
and this was one of the main pathways that people would take into the city.
يعني ربما كما يقال كشارع إكسفورد في لندن فرضا
It's like Oxford Street in London.
يقول رأيت رجلا يمد يده للناس
He said as I was walking I came across a man who was begging.
كلما مر أحد مر يده وطاب منه
Every person that passing by is begging from them.
نظرت إليه
So I looked at him
تعجبت
and I was amazed.
اقتربت منه
So I came closer
نظرت في وجهه
and I looked at his face.
قال ما لك تنظر لي هكذا
So he said to me, why are you looking at me like that?
قال شبهت عليك برجل
He said, because you remind me of someone.
رأيته في الصفا
I saw him many years ago in a Safa, in Sa'i,
على الدابة
riding an animal,
ويسعى والناس تدفع والحاشية تدفع الناس عنه
and people were pushing other people out of his path.
كأنك تشبهه
You look like that man that I saw.
قال أنا هذا
He said, yes, that was me.
قلت كيف تغير الحال
So I asked him, what happened to your situation?
كنت من أكبر تجار بغداد
You were from the richest people of this city,
كيف أصبحت فقيرا
and now you're begging from people?
قال هكذا
He said, this is what happened to me.
تكبرت في موضع التواضع
He said that I showed arrogance at a place that I should have been humble.
وضعني الله عز وجل في موضع التكبر موضع الشرف والجاه
And now Allah has humiliated me in a place where other people are honored.
انتبه أنت تتعامل مع الله
Be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
إخواني في تاجر من أكبر تجار الخليج
There was one of the famous businessmen of the Gulf.
وكان أكبر المليارديرات في الخليج.
and he's a multi-millionaire.
كان يأتيه الفقراء ويطلبون منه.
The poor would come and they would ask him for help.
قال لست وكيلا عن أبيكم آدم.
And he would say that I'm not responsible, I'm not your father Adam alayhi salam, I'm not his representative.
لست وكيلا حتى أنفق على أبنائه.
I'm not here to like serve all of his children and pay for them.
كان يضرهم.
And so he would just ignore them.
ما دفع مليما واحدا له.
He wouldn't even give him a penny or a riyal.
مرت السنة.
Many years passed by.
افتقر هذا الرجل.
And he became poor.
أصبح مديونا.
And he fell into debt.
لم يستطع أن يقطع تذكرة من القاهرة إلى جدة.
He couldn't even buy a plane ticket from Cairo to Jeddah.
تصدق أحدهم عليه فاشترى له تذكرة من القاهرة إلى جدة.
So someone had to buy and purchase that ticket for him.
وكان قد أصبح مقعدا.
And by that time he had become wheelchair bound.
وصل إلى جدة.
So he arrived in Jeddah.
نقله العمال إلى الموظفين إلى موضع الخروج.
And so the workers, they took that wheelchair and they took him out to the terminal building.
وصل إلى موضع سيارات الأجرة.
And he came to the place where the taxis are.
جلس فيه على كرسي.
But he just stayed there.
مكان مدة.
And he stayed there for a while.
مر عليه رجل.
And so someone passed by.
عرفه.
And he recognized him.
قال لماذا أنت جالس هنا؟
And he said, why are you waiting here?
قال ما عندي مال حتى أجد من يوصلني إلى البيت.
He said that I don't have enough money for a taxi fare.
قال لك مني.
So the man said to him,
أن أدفع أجرة هذه السيارة.
I will pay for your fare.
وأدفع لك راتبا شهريا.
And I will give to you a monthly wage or a monthly stipend.
تستطيع أن تعيش.
That will allow you to live.
انظروا كيف انقلب الحال.
Look at how Allah changed the situation.
نسوا الله فنسيهم.
They forgot about Allah, so Allah forgot about them.
فاليوم ننساهم كما نسوا لقاء يومهم.
And Allah says that we will forget them just as they forgot about this meeting of ours on the Day of Judgment.
في الدنيا فكيف في الآخرة.
And if this is the situation in this life, then what about in the next life?
ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم.
And Allah says, and don't be like those people who forgot Allah, so Allah made them forget themselves.
أنت التعامل مع الله.
So be careful, for you are dealing with Allah.
الله كريم.
And Allah Azza wa Jalla is all great.
فاحسب حسبه لكل عمل تقوم به.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala measures and knows the worth of everything that you do.
واستحضر عظمة الله تبارك.
And so remember Allah's greatness.
والحمد لله.
And all praise is due to Allah. Any questions anyone has?
إذا ما عندكم أسئلة عندنا أسئلة. إذا ما عندهم أسئلة عندنا أسئلة.
Shaykh said, if you don't have any questions, he has questions.
Are you talking about this story or something else? I can recur.
Anything, whatever.
Well, what's going on now? We are Muslim. Day by day, we're going aggressive. We do 5 times salah, but we're not related our behavior, talking, anything. What's going on? All the Muslim people, not all of them, but what's going on? The people, they do 5 times salah,
Yeah.
but their behavior is totally different. Than
You mean the
others.
character's not
Yeah.
good? يسأل الناس يصلون لكن من الناحية الأخلاقية لا تجد لهم عندهم أخلاق المسلمين.
نعم توجد نسبة كما تفضلت.
Shaykh said, yes, this is present.
وهذه كما يقال سنة الحياة منذ بعثة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And the Shaykh said that this has always been the case even since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
إلا فقط عهد النبوي وعهد الخلفاء الراشدين.
Except for that very early period of the time of the Prophet sallallahu and the time of the Khulafa.
ودائما هذه سنة الله عز وجل.
Because this is Allah's universal decree.
تكون هذه مجموعة قليلة.
And this is a small group of people.
فلولا كان من القرون فلولا كان من قبل
قرون من قبلكم
من
أولو
قبل
بقية.
نعم أولو بقية ينهون عن الفساد إلا قليلا ممن أنجينا منهم.
And that's why Allah says that from those who came before you, the vast majority of them wouldn't forbid the evil, except for a few of them.
نحن علينا أن نقوم بهذه المهمة.
And this is our role now.
لينظر كل منا إلى نفسه.
Everyone should judge himself first.
هل نحن فعلا في أنفسنا
Are we in ourselves?
نحقق الأمور الإلهية والأوامر الإلهية التي
Are we fulfilling Allah's commands?
ربما نحن في بعض الأمور نحققها.
Maybe sometimes we do fulfill those commands in certain things.
وإذا حصلت مصلحتنا تغضينا النظر أو غضينا النظر.
And if it's not in our benefit, we kind of turn away from it.
إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم.
That is what Allah says. Allah doesn't change the situation of a people until they first change their own situation.
لنبدأ في إصلاح أنفسنا أولا.
The first thing we need to do is rectify ourselves.
ثم في الدعوة لإصلاح أهلنا.
And then our family.
ثم ندعو لإصلاح من حولنا.
And then those people around us.
وعلى هذا قام الدين.
And this is how the religion is established.
الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر.
That you command the good and you forbid the evil.
فلا بد إذا ما ولذلك نحن لماذا نجتمع في هذا المسجد؟
Why have we gathered here today in this masjid?
حتى نتذاكر.
So that we may remind one another.
وحتى نقوي أنفسنا.
And so that we can strengthen ourselves.
نقوم نحن بالمعروف.
So that we can enjoy the good.
ولئلا نزل نحن في أنفسنا.
And so that we aren't misguided ourselves.
وننطلق بعد ذلك إلى غيرنا.
And then we can go and help other people.
حتى نأمرهم بالمعروف وننهاهم عن
So
المنكر.
that we can enjoy the good with them and forbid them from evil.
فلا بد من وجود فئة كما تقول أنت منكرة تأمر بالمعروف وتنهى عن المنكر.
And that is what the Shaykh is saying, that near every place you need a small group, as you said, that does this, commands the good, forbids the evil.
لأن طبيعة الناس يحبون الهوى.
Because it is the nature of people to follow their desires.
ومن النادر من يقوم الإنسان دائما على نفسه بعمل الصالح ولا يزل.
And it is rare to find someone who only does good and doesn't do any evil.
وهذا دورنا نحن.
And that is our role.
لا نجلس في مكاننا.
We don't just sit at home
نحن مشغولون بأهلنا.
and busy with our families
مشغولون بعملنا.
and busy with our jobs.
ونترك بعد ذلك الدعوة إلى الله.
And then we forget about calling others to Allah.
نترك الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر.
And we forget about enjoying the good and forbidding the evil.
أنت تسعى.
You do your role
وأنا أسعى.
and I do my role.
والشيخ يسعى.
And this Shaykh does his role.
والشاب يسعى.
And that Shaykh
والزوجة تسعى.
and your wife
والبنت تسعى.
and your daughter.
بعد ذاك الله عز وجل يبارك في عملنا بعد 10 سنوات.
And that is where Allah Azza wa Jalla will then bless the actions of those people after a number of years.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بدأ بمجموعة قليلة في عهد المكي.
The Prophet ﷺ only had a few followers in Mecca.
فنشروا بأخلاقهم الدين إلى الهند وإلى الصين وإلى روسيا وإلى المغرب.
But with their character, all of Islam spread throughout the world.
ما أجبروا الناس على الإسلام.
They didn't force anyone to accept
لم
Islam.
يقول له إما أن تسلم أو نقتلك.
They didn't say to people, either be a Muslim or we'll kill you.
لكن تأثروا بأخلاق المسلمين.
But people would be amazed by their character.
كانوا مجموعة قليلة في
They were
ذلك.
only a few people at the beginning,
لكنهم سعوا لإصلاح أنفسهم أولا.
but they rectified themselves first,
ثم سعوا في إصلاح الناس.
and then they rectified the people around them.
ليكن هذا دورنا.
This is how we need to behave.
والله عز وجل يختبرنا من خلال هذا الأمر.
And this is how Allah tests us to see what we will do.
طريق الجنة غير مفروش بالورود.
The path that leads to Jannah is not a path of roses,
مفروش بالأشواك.
but rather it's full of thorns,
حتى الله عز وجل يرانا
so that Allah can judge us and see us
ويختبرنا.
and can test us.
لابد من تحمل مصائب.
And so you have to deal with these challenges,
لابد من تحمل التضحيات
and you have to sacrifice
حتى ننجح في الاختبار.
so that you can pass the test.
هل الشخص يفوز بالامتياز يحصل على درجة الامتياز
Will you pass with flying colors?
وهو نائم في بيته؟
Do you pass with flying colors just sleeping at home doing nothing?
لابد أن يعمل وأن يدرس وأن
You
يجتهد.
have to work and you have to study and you have to put in some effort.
من أراد الوصول إلى الجبال لابد من تحمل مشاق.
And whoever wants to climb a mountain has to take the difficult path.
هذا دورك وهذا دوري
This is our role
وهذا دور الأخوة.
and the role of everyone here.
ثم بعد ذلك تشعر باللذة وأنت تأمر بالمعروف وتنهى عن المنكر.
And that is when you will find the sweetness of enjoying the good and forbidding the evil.
والله عز وجل يبارك في كلمتك بعد
And
ذلك.
Allah Azza wa Jalla will bless your words.
أسأل الله عز وجل يصلحنا جميعا
May Allah Azza wa Jalla rectify us all
ويصلح أهلينا
and our families
ووالدينا
and our parents
وكذلك أولادنا
and our children
وأحبابنا.
and our beloved.
الله عز وجل كريم سبحانه.
And Allah is the most generous.